welcome. How are you doing today, Philip?
Hello. I'm very well, thank you, April. It's been a while since I've been on a call or something, but it's nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm very happy to have you. So, for those watching, this is Philip, the guitarist of Ocean of Grief. It's a doom metal band, am I correct, from Athens, Greece. And Philip is also a music producer. So, how are you doing today? And what have you been up to?
Well, currently I'm on vacation at last. It's getting to
Good,
an end
nice.
though. So after this, it's all the way back to music, like full on schedule on every front. Music production, recording for my band, everything. Live shows. We're getting on a very hot September.
Yes. I noticed, that also reminds me, I noticed that you are playing two live shows, I believe, in Athens and Istanbul in October with Swallow the Sun. Could you tell me
Exactly.
about that? And have you worked with Swallow the Sun previously?
No, actually, it's our first time. This is a live
Oh.
show that has been on the works, mostly for the Istanbul one for quite a few months now, like for the preview from 2020, early 2026, actually. Or actually, no, late 2025. But we have some postpones from the arrangement side, from the promoter side, actually. So that went from March to this October. It will be the first time to play with these guys actually, and as you can imagine, we're pretty big fans of them. We're listening to them since I don't know 2014, 2015. So these are kind of important songs for us because we play on approximately on the same genre. So
Yeah,
well, for us, it's very important. They're very important live shows. In another case, maybe we wouldn't do them because currently we're working on our new album as well,
hmm
and we are keep postponing it because of live shows for later every year. And it's been a time that we need to put an end to this and just heads down and go and record the goddamn album.
Sure. Yeah, understandable. I did listen to your latest single, believe it's called Ghosts Inside. That
That's it.
you released this album or you released the single last year, and I also watched the music video for it. Did you take any part in producing the music video at all?
No. The music video was produced by Olga Khan. We had we didn't have collaborate in the past. She
Oh,
also handles artwork, logos, and stuff like this. But during the last 5 or 6 years, she's been fully into video production. I also work with Olga in the music production of her own projects for quite a
mm-hmm.
while. So we know
Gotcha.
each other for almost almost 8 years now. It's been a while. But it was the first time we collaborated on a music video. But it was 100% her concept. We just gave her the music, and she visualized the rest.
Nice. Well, it was very well done. It's very simplistic video, but it was beautiful.
Mhm.
And had very
Yeah,
mournful tone to it that I really
yeah,
enjoyed.
I
And when I
agree.
was listening, good. Yes, when I was listening to, well, the latest single, but also your previous two albums, I believe was it Nightfall's Lament and
Hmm.
Pale Existence? I was listening to those, and
That's correct.
I do hear a lot of influence of. It's almost sounded like Swallow the Sun meets October Tide, maybe a little early Katatonia slipped in there. So just can you describe that more? Can you describe the Ocean of Grief sound, like in
Mhm.
terms of subgenre or anything you want to describe about it?
I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that I'm a bit wordy. So
Yeah,
I'm
that works
gonna
for
go.
me.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
So,
no.
well, when we started out, our drummer mostly was into Saturnus, Draconian, and stuff like this. Me and
hmm
bassist, who we were previously in other bands, were almost obsessed with Slumber. Do you know Slumber? The
I,
Swedish doom death band.
yes, I don't think I've heard their music. I've heard the name.
Yeah, you should go ahead and check them out. This
Yeah,
is a
I'll
band
definitely
that
make note of that.
top-notch melodic doom death is just like so
Wonderful.
we were obsessed with they have just one album. They disbanded after right after this,
Hmm.
and this album was an obsession for me and on my basis. And so when we started the band and met our drummer, he introduced us to all these bands. Apologies, we knew Swallow the Sun, but we did not dive deep too much into their discography. We just knew a couple of songs. So our drummer introduced us to Draconian, Saturnus, what other bands, more into the Madine Bride stuff because we
Oh,
knew them, but I personally didn't listen to them that much.
hmm.
So a whole world opened for me personally. So we just dive right through into this and Doom VS, all that kind of stuff. October Tide, as you said,
Hmm.
early Katatonia. We
Lovely.
just, actually, I'm gonna speak for me. I personally have never heard of these bands, and I was listening to metal almost 10 years or 15 years at this point. So it was the
Yeah.
only genre that I hadn't explored by that point. So I keep listening to it all the time for almost 2 years, 3 years. And this obviously had an impact on our sound, a significant one.
Hmm.
So even though it's pretty late for me in the uh, heavy metal exploration, they still have a pretty significant impact. And to these bands, I would also add Ensign, which is the current band of the guitarist of Slumber. This band transformed into Atoma, another melodic doom death with cinematic elements band, and they kept going, but he abandoned Atoma and created Ensign. So this is all just a family. Slumber, Atoma, and Ensign are like a family of similar music. So all of this stuff shaped our sound, without doing it on purpose. Like actually, I didn't do it on purpose, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it just went out. Like when you play and you listen to this all the time, it's just it just flows.
Yeah. Everything just flows naturally, and like you said, none of it was forced. It's just
Yeah.
that these are the guys.
Actually, yeah. I don't know if it sounds forced, but
I don't think so.
I was under strict control of myself. Like if something felt pushed. I would just didn't follow this. I would just let this song or this part, I would just let it go, for better or for worse.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair. And do you have a name? Do you have a title for your upcoming album?
No, as of now, we have finished the music for almost all songs. We have fully composed this and
Hmm.
most of our lyrics, but we don't have titles and stuff. There's usually, if there's not a highly inspirational moment, we leave this until the very end when we have
Okay.
produced the songs. We finish production, maybe finish recording, and after this, we usually come up with the titles. But I want to point out that this is the first time that we work with our vocalist Nikos Vlahakis, who was the singer for Shattered Hope. That's our first album that we work with him. So maybe that changes. We will see.
Okay. So that does depend on kind of the style of the band members and like you said,
Exactly.
the vocal. Am I right in assuming that Nikos also wrote or is writing all the lyrics?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
actually we are pretty bad in writing lyrics. The rest of the members, so the vocalist handles it. And on our previous album, a friend of our other guitarist, Dimitra, a friend of hers handled lyrics for 3 or 4 songs because he had some pretty good ideas, and we didn't want to let them go.
Yeah, okay. And are you going to be involved in producing this album also?
Yeah. Most likely, I will handle the production, recording, and mixing, and we
Okay.
will hire or collaborate with a mastering engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and we will also record drums in a studio because I don't know have a recording studio per se. It's mostly a mixing studio, to be honest.
Okay, all right. And I'll be honest, I don't know as much on the side of on like the recording producing side of things. There are some pretty big names there. Yeah, there's some pretty renowned names in metal that I'm familiar with, like
Mhm.
Jens Bogren. Have you collaborated
Yeah.
with him? I know that you knew who it was. Have you collaborated with him before?
No, and to be honest, we are thinking about doing the mastering with him, like or with his collaborators,
Oh.
because he uses, I think, for mastering, Jens mostly uses Tony Lidgren, handles most of the mastering
Mm,
work nowadays, who is also, he's up at the same level with Jens. We're thinking about going
okay.
that way, but we will see. But as of now, we're focusing on him for mastering, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that I'm glad I brought it up then.
Yeah,
So
of course.
yeah. Speaking of which, I know I think the main reason that I am familiar with the ends is because he has mastered or produced some albums with albums that I'm very familiar with. Like I'm a big fan of Paradise Lost, and I know that they have worked with him several times in the last
Yeah.
10 to 15 years, maybe perhaps longer than that. Also Katatonia. I think has worked
Hmm.
with him many times, and
Yeah, yeah.
probably some other bands that I'm forgetting here off the top of my head. But
Yeah, almost all known metal bands have worked with Jens over the years.
yeah, that he seems, and as I said, I'm not super familiar with that side, with the production side of things and mixing. I don't even know the exact terminology,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. No, terminology is correct, but it makes sense that you don't know exactly um, how these processes are separated or what each process does, because it's a thing that most people that are just casual fans, or casual
mhm.
listeners, they just don't know exactly what these are. Uh, Mostly, and to be fair, sometimes they get blended. Like sometimes the producer will
Yeah.
handle mixing, and also the producer might handle mixing and mastering. It depends, on its band's budget and and their goals and visions. Too many variables accounted for this.
Yeah, okay, well, that's fair. And speaking of Catatonia, did you play at the same festival with them
Yeah,
about
Metal
six
Gates
years ago?
Festival. Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I was looking through some of your old, or Ocean of Grief's old Instagram posts, and I happened to catch sight of that because was pretty certain that I saw your names come together at some point. So
Mhm.
is that the only time that you shared a stage with Catatonia?
Yes, Association of Grief, it was the first time we played together. Second time for this festival, but first time with Katatonia. A pretty good moment for us. Like, we're big admirers of them.
Okay, yeah. What about yeah, I've been a fan of Catatonia for almost 20 years now. So or not well, not quite 20
All
years. I became a
okay.
fan when A Night is the New Day came out in 2009.
Ah,
So still 17, that's been a long time. So 17 years. That's when
yeah.
I got into them, and of course I went backwards and listened to The Great Cold Distance, and then all the way back to when they were teenagers, like early 90s, Dance of December Souls.
Hmm.
And, you can see how much they've
Oh, yeah.
evolved majorly over that time. And they're still changing, they're still evolving.
Yeah. Yeah. Their sound is pretty, it's like a pretty, has a pretty big variations. Like on the early days, they were pretty primitive, but still melodic. And, the
Yeah.
last couple of albums, it just completely changed the style. Like, I don't know. Do you like the newest
So
ones,
I like all
or do you
I
just?
like all of it. I like all eras of Catatonia. So from the
Oh, that's cool.
oldest, yeah. Now if somebody asks me, well, do you have a favorite album? I couldn't really give an answer to that. I would have to say the favorite era of Catatonia probably
Hmm.
would be most of the 2000s. I think that's a fair way to say it.
Ah,
So
okay.
that's a lot. That's quite a few albums, and there's still a lot of evolution in their sound between, Last Fair
Hmm.
Deal
Hmm.
Gone Down from 2001,
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, until the end of that decade with the Night is the New Day album. So there's quite
Yeah.
a difference in his vocal style and some lineup changes took place, I think, in that
Yeah.
time period. Also reminded me to ask you, you said that you were influenced a lot by the sound of
Hmm.
October Tide. So can you tell me a little more about that? Because I only listened to a few of their earlier albums when Jonas was still, I think, sang vocals on their first or second album.
I th-
Not sure.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the 12 Days of Rain, the song is like
Yeah, yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
it's a pretty great song. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To be honest, we're not that big fans of October Tide, but it was in the same veins as well, the Sandraconian, same kind of music. So we were listening to them casually, to be honest. But
Yeah.
we pretty much digged the 2013 album they had with Tunnel of No Light, I think. Pretty sure. I'm not very sure of the
Hmm.
name.
That
The
sounds right off the top, without me Googling, that sounds right off the top of my head, and it's possible I heard it.
yep. It's the Tunnel of No Light, yeah, album, the 2013 one.
Oh, oh, good job.
This is, yeah, this is an album that I really, really digged when I first discovered it. Like, and I also like the sound as a production. It's not too polished, or it's not on the level up of a Great Cold Distance, for example, from Catatonia. But there's something
Yeah.
to it that I really, really dig. Maybe it's the nostalgia thing that helps me lean
Well,
more towards this album. For me, I think it plays a role. So after also the 2016 Weekend Waltz, I think it was the album. That's also an album that we like.
hmm.
Uh, Towards the earlier stuff, maybe our drummer would be more suitable to help you there. Our drummer is
Oh,
mostly
okay.
focused on the 90s decade. So everything that is 90s and early zeros, it's his cup of tea.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's cool.
What, what albums do you like from them from October?
I would say, it's been so long, honestly, since I listened, but probably the earlier stuff, all the way up to, so whichever, I'm pretty certain that Jonas did vocals on the debut album that they put out in like
Yeah. Hmm.
1995 or
Hmm.
something, because I,
Hmm.
I think that was technically before he did transition the vocal styles for Catatonia. I think that October Tide
Hmm.
album came out right before Brave Murder Day, where they had Miguel from Opeth doing the vocals on Brave Murder Day album,
Hmm.
because was the time that Jonas took a transition for his vocals into a cleaner sound down the road.
Hmm.
So that October, and my apologies, can't remember the name of the album, but I do enjoy that album. And I think there's another album that October Tide did in the late 90s. I think maybe 97,
I think,
98.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think.
pretty sure. Yeah, and whenever the third album came out, not clear on the time range, 2001,
Third,
2002, sort of
I have no
guessing.
idea, and I'm just looking that up. Oh,
Yeah,
the Three Dawn, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, I haven't checked that out.
yeah.
And also, what I also see is the A Thin Soil, the 2010 album that I
Oh,
have listened to a couple of times, and it left me a very nice sense after listening to it. And I wanna, you reminded me to go check it again. I have listened to it a couple, not a couple, like 6, 7 months ago.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
was
need to
gonna
go
say,
back.
well, this would be a good reason. This would be a good incentive, I think, for both of us to go backwards
To
into their
revisit, yeah,
catalog and discography and revisit everything that they've done all the way till
yeah.
because they're still together, aren't they? Yeah, still making.
Yeah, we also played together. Together, we played on the same festival in 2018. On the same
Oh,
festival that we played with Katatonia, but 5 years ago. Like, yeah, in 2023 it was Katatonia, if I recall correctly, and
okay.
2018 was with October Tide.
Oh, okay, wonderful. And they still does October Tide? Do they still have the Norman brothers that used to
Yeah,
play
yeah, yeah,
Catatonia? They're
yeah,
still with
yeah, yeah.
October
Hmm.
Tide. Okay, well that's good to hear.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they are now, but back then they were 100%.
Okay, good.
I
That's good to
am.
hear.
I don't know if. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, as a producer, do you have any, say, we'll go with three artists, any three artists that you really, really want to produce an album for?
Sure. I would go ahead and and say that one of them. I would go ahead and say that this will most likely won't happen for various reasons, but one of them is Ensign. But Ensign, they have the guy Jarl Lindholm that creates all the music. Is also a mixing and mastering engineer and pure producer, and he's also very obsessed with his stuff. We talked, so that's why this is not gonna happen. But I would very much like this. Also Draconian, and of course Swallow the Sun. All of them from the doom death metal genre. Uh, but I think that makes sense in a way.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
What is your favorite aspect of
Mhm.
the Death Doom genre? So whether it's the music you're making or just when you're listening to other bands.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say the feeling like this desolate and somber feeling, this gloominess. This is what
Yeah.
I love about it. This is why I kept listening when I told you back in 2020, 2014, when we started the band and our drummer introduced us to these bands. That's why I kept listening to them. It was the main reason, if not the sole reason. The feeling they evoked was something unique for me. Like I haven't
Hmm.
listened to music that created this kind of atmosphere with such consistency in all of an album. Like I could hear, for example, Doom VS is Earthless,
Hmm.
and the whole Doom VS is the side project from Draconian's guitarist Johansson.
Oh, I didn't
Uh,
know that.
Ericsson, sorry, Johan Ericsson, not Johansson, Johan Ericsson.
Okay.
And the feeling of this album was something that, they just drag you in. Same with Slumber, same with Ensign. They just drag you and you can go ahead and travel with them, but in a very gloominess, like in a very gloomy way. That's what I like the most. Because
Yeah.
there was power, but it was not for me, always for me, it was not that prevalent. The power was not that prevalent. The
Hmm.
sadness, this feeling, the gloominess is what I adored the most. And that's why we named the band Ocean of Grief. Because all of
Yeah.
our
Well,
music is based on is based on this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's based on that feeling. Yeah, and it's a very
I
powerful. Oh yeah, go ahead.
oh, okay. Yeah, I want to ask you, what kind of feeling does this music provoke to you?
Well,
Out of
very,
curiosity.
yeah, no, that's a great question. I would say, more or less the same that you described. So there's some, melancholic. It brings up a lot of
Hmm.
melancholic feelings, and it doesn't, and it doesn't so much drag me into some pit of despair
Okay.
or anything like, where it's just like, oh, it's just, oh my gosh, life is so terrible and
Oh,
horrible, and I can't get to, it's
no, no,
never
yeah.
really, it's never really
No,
like
never
that.
like
It's more
this.
like, it's not like this. No, in fact, I wouldn't say it turns the table. So if you are really, really having terrible day, terrible week, terrible month for various, work-related reasons or whatever the reason is, that one of the first things that I turn to are my favorite types of music, my favorite music. And I do listen to a wide variety of genres, to be honest, even outside of the metal, all these metal subgenres we're talking about, like doom metal or death metal,
Like,
gothic rock.
what kind?
So
What kind
I
of
do listen
genres?
to yeah, it's so to be fair, there's I still listen to I mean, I'm an 80s girl. I was born in 1980, so I still listen to a lot of the pop music from the 80s
Hmm.
and the 90s, the top 40 stuff they played on the radio back then. So, the big mainstream artists like Michael Jackson and Madonna. I
Hmm.
also, still love those guys, and I listen to a lot of dance music, which is, very generic because we all
Oh.
know there's like hundreds or even thousands of subgenres of music out there
Hmm.
for, doesn't matter if you say all pop music or country music or metal music. There's so many subgenres that you don't really
Yeah.
know. You don't really know. So the thing with like the dance music will say that's really great for working out because I do work out most days of the week.
Hmm.
So the rhythm, something like that, you're
Ah.
going after the rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, I enjoy classical. I don't know, I'm not a big
Okay.
aficionado. Like I'm not super familiar with all the composers from back in the day. If somebody sat down with me, like music teacher sat down with me who really was person obsessed with classical music. That'd be educational conversation, but not one that I could contribute a lot to because, I mean, I'm familiar with Mozart, Beethoven, Vivaldi,
Yeah.
composers like
The
that.
legends.
So the legends, yeah, as far as really breaking them down, comparing, contrasting, analyzing different things, identifying the key signatures of I'm not so great at that. So, but that's when you want a classical music, different types of classical when you just want to kick back and relax or go to sleep. I mean, I even jazz music or like, some say elevator music. Because
That's a pretty wide, wide variety of music.
I
How
really
how how
do.
did? Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Like it enriches your personality, I believe, listening to various kinds of music. How did you end up with metal?
Yeah, so that is, oh yeah, that is a great question. I think, you know, that sometimes I ask myself that same question because as growing, yeah, like I said, I was born in 1980, so I mean, growing up, yeah, well, obviously heavy metal was like the classic metal bands like Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, and Judas Priest, Motley Crue, you name it. They were big, big names in the 80s. And,
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily collecting these guys' well, cassettes or vinyls or anything back then. So, or trying to go to concerts when I was a little kid. I wasn't really doing that, but I was still listening to things that MTV or VH1 played, back in the days that they played music. And I discovered it was strange because even though I had an older brother, didn't really want anything. He didn't want anything to do with heavy metal, and my parents weren't really fans of it. They weren't against it. They didn't have problems with it, but per
Yeah.
se. But, they just weren't fans of it. I was pretty much the only one in the family who was rocking out to the stuff that, that they played on MTV and the metal hour or I guess when I got a little older, it became Headbangers Ball. And
Yeah,
you
yeah,
found out about bands like Pantera. They're major, and especially in the States in the early 90s. So, I think as I got older and then into the teenage years, you sort of branch out into the like industrial side of metal, like Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson. I was a huge fan of them in high school. So again, mid to late 90s. But now in terms of the bands that we've been talking about a lot today, it's more on the gothic metal, the doom metal side of things, like Katatonia, Paradise Lost, Anathema. I'm just wearing a little kind of generic Anathema
yeah. I
shirt
saw it. I
today.
saw it. Yeah, yeah.
That Peaceful Three they used to call it, or yeah, Katatonia. I already said that.
Yeah, the
Sisters of
peaceful.
Mercy, yeah, Sisters of Mercy. That I guess a lot of people call the gothic rock side of things. So that, those didn't come along. I wasn't really familiar with any of them until I was in my 20s, which has been nearly 20 years ago. But it seems like once I fell in love with all of those guys, particularly Paradise Lost, they're still at my number one
Hmm.
top favorite. So once I fell
Ah.
in love with all of them, I've been very, very much dedicated to them. And I think, like, also going back to what we were saying a few minutes ago with why do you like this music so much, or what kind of thoughts and feelings come up when you listen to it. You do get the melancholic somber feelings that come up, but I'm a melody, at heart, I'm a melody person. So even all of those other artists and genres, non-heavy metal genres that I mentioned before, I'm a melody person. So, as far as there's so many components of a song, as we know, like melody, the rhythm, I guess you could even say harmony,
You know what?
vocals, the lyrics, everything.
It's just if you think about it, it's just those two, rhythm and melody, and all of the other things are variants of these two. Like
Yes.
I would consider harmonies part of the melody.
Yes,
I
you're
don't
right.
know, paradiddles part of rhythm. But I
Hmm.
would agree with you. You have a good point. I didn't mention it. I was also a melody guy, mostly. I love rhythm, but I'm mostly melody oriented when it comes to listening to music.
And that does make sense. Just since I say that because you play guitar. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it does make sense. Now, do you play any other instruments?
No. I
Yeah.
would like to say I can play bass, but no.
Yeah.
It's the most appropriate description would be I can grab the bass and hit the strings. Like yeah, I don't play as a bass itself. I would say no. Like most, almost exclusively guitar. I know how the instruments should be played. For example, I
Hmm.
know I can program, for example, drums. I know what plays, what part of the drum should be played and when. But when I sit on a drum kit, people
Hmm.
are going to laugh.
I understand. I used to take drum lessons, rudimentary beginners drum lessons in my 20s. That didn't last very long. I know for one thing, it's an instrument that is much, much more difficult than it looks.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's,
yes.
yeah,
Uh,
for
when
real.
when I
Yes.
was younger, I kept saying to myself because I didn't realize back then that if you know how an instrument is played, that doesn't mean that you know how to play it. My head couldn't construct this concept. So when I was younger, so every time I said, this time I'm gonna sit behind a drum kit and I'm just gonna play what I think it needs to be played, and it will happen. Why couldn't it happen? And I'm sitting on rehearsals behind the drum kit, and every goddamn time, it's not easy to synchronize your feet and your hands without
Mm,
practicing
no.
on a regular basis. It is extremely difficult to synchronize the both, and also and put aside the right way to hit, or meaning in what angle the hit, or with how much power, because it's part of the drums
Mm,
should not be played on the same with the same power. For example, the cymbals, it's not always good to be played this in the same with the same power as the snare drum, for example, or a
oh,
tom.
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, putting aside all this stuff, just to synchronize feet and hands, it's incredibly difficult. And as you said, it's not easy for people to understand this, except if they try to play it themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was also a very impatient learner. So what that means is I was trying to automatically start learning like metal songs, which oftentimes involve the double bass kick. And so you're doing
Yeah,
all this stuff
yeah,
at once. I mean, I had just barely not even mastered, but I had just barely learned, to do
yeah,
the rudiments, the basic drum rudiments, the hands like on a snare, on a basic snare, and I go from that to wanting to learn, full metal songs that involve the double bass kick. It's like, oh man, you really take your time with it, and it was
yeah.
enjoyable while it lasted. I only took those lessons, I think, for a year, because that was back
Oh, you
in
lasted a year.
2007 to 2008. So, one could definitely argue that I probably surrendered the hobby, prematurely. But I do like to dabble with the keyboard. I can't really play full songs. Again, there is a lot of coordination involved, and you're trying to,
Hmm.
match up the chords with one hand and the
Yeah,
melody with the other
with the
is very
melody.
hard. It's very hard to do. So I'm currently, I do actually have an acoustic guitar. It's a Sakova, so
Okay.
it's an older guitar. My friend actually gave it to me, just gave it to me, and all I had to do was get new strings. She gave it to me a few years ago, and I don't know what motivated me to start, aside from, hey, I need a change in hobby, maybe on the music side of things. So I'm learning, that's of course a standard, keep it basic. It's a standard E-tuned. So I'm learning, where the appropriate positions of the fingers to the chords, and things like that. Again, I couldn't play a song, but and I can hear music okay. I wouldn't say I have a perfect pitch,
All
but
right.
I can hear it okay, and it makes sense.
Do you
So
also record yourself playing?
No, I haven't done that yet, just because I'm such a beginner at it. But it could be helpful. See what you mean? Just to
Yeah,
record it for
it would be.
myself.
Yeah, exactly. Just with a mobile phone, like with a cell phone, just open the recording option, the recording
Yeah.
application. Yeah, and go ahead, the stock one, and it will be tremendously helpful, tremendously. But because you will build kind of tolerance for hearing yourself and mistakes and stuff like this. So you will listen to you will listen how you play, and you could I suppose that you have a vision for how you would like to play as an end goal. Like if you want to say to yourself, "I learned this instrument adequately for myself," you should have a vision for this. If you have this
Mm,
and you keep recording yourself, you will improve very fast, very very fast. But
yeah.
if there's again, if you just do it for your fun, for to have fun and just for your own sake, it's not very important then, because you might just want to just scratch the guitar and have a good time doing this. So, and you don't care to improve drastically. That's also an option. Depends on what you want to do with the instrument. But if you want to improve fast, record yourself 100%.
Yeah, that's something I've never thought about that before. So I appreciate the advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may take you up on that.
Just, for personal use, just if you are ashamed to send it or to have someone else listen to it, just do it for yourself. And after a while, you'll see that if you are not too much introverted, you will
Hmm.
share it with other people eventually.
Oh
You will
yeah.
like to hear yourself playing.
So tell me more about the guitar that you
Mhm.
play, like the model, the maybe some of your equipment, because I'm still learning
Ah,
about that
sure.
side of things.
Yeah, yeah. As of now, I'm playing with an ESP guitar for almost almost 20 years, a little less, I suppose.
Okay,
17 maybe. I got this one in 2009.
nice.
It's an Horizon model. It has been discontinued for quite a while right now. There is the Horizon 2 and now maybe Horizon 3, I'm not sure. Uh, and the only thing I've done is I modded it. I changed the pickups and I placed a custom made one from a Greek manufacturer here. in Athens. So it's a pretty easily played instrument. Like I can explain it, but recently for a project that I'm recording guitar for, I had to play with my old guitar, a BC Rich one. And the difference between the two guitars was immense. Like I didn't
Okay.
believe I didn't believe my, I don't know, my ears and my ears and my hands. Like the feeling was very, very different on the other guitar. And also I played with a Les Paul a few years ago with a
Huh.
Gibson Les Paul, and the sound was awesome from the Gibson Les Paul. It was an excellent sound, but
Mm-hmm.
they had issues for with tuning. I mean, they couldn't just keep the goddamn tuning for more than half an hour. And also on the lead side, it was when you play leads, I mean, it was a bit harder than mine. Like the ESP, the fretboard, it's just very, very smooth. That's why I have never thought of changing it. And up until now, I suppose. And I also got an electroacoustic guitar, a Juan Martinez one, but I haven't used this. I have this only for recordings, and I have rarely played with this. I have used it for one or two albums. One of them was our single, actually,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I aim to use it on our new album.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see if it will pass the test. Actually.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing it. Are you a six string or
Cool.
seven string kind of guy?
Six, six, all of us are six string guys. We thought about messing around with the seven string.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we did for just one riff in our first EP. In the first song of the EP, we used a seven string. After that, we just didn't use this, not for any particular reason, mostly because none of us has a seventh string guitar up until now. But actually, maybe we can do this in the future, or maybe we can mess up with the tuning because we have pretty much the same tuning for all of our discography. We never changed this.
And what is your tuning?
It's one step down, like in a D,
It's in D.
one step
Okay.
down from a standard. Hmm.
Right. Gotcha.
It's a
So
D
that's
tune.
all of you are using detuned.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We
Well, that's
came to that
sensible.
conclusion because, we came to that conclusion because we thought it suited our music the best. When we started composing the first songs, we thought that the D1 tuning sounded a little heavier than the E standard, but not too heavy, so we can still
Mm-hmm.
be a little in the melodic kind of things. I know these things are very, very uh, maybe even superstitious to some degree. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, if they create an inspirational vibe for you and they work, I'm fine for this. But you know, after getting used to production and stuff, I realized that if you can be very heavy with an E standard as well.
Sure, certainly. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the bands I've checked out and really enjoyed, the metal band specifically,
Hmm.
just utilize the standard E tune and it still sounded
Yeah,
loud and heavy. So it
pretty.
really, it's
Yeah,
personal
yeah.
preference. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, do you have any other music related goals to close out 2026 aside from finishing writing your album and those
2020.
playing those gigs?
That's the Yeah, that's the main one.
Yeah.
Actually, not to finish, we just want to finish the composing of the new album, to be precise, because we have one
Yeah.
song left to be done. And then we will head into pre-production and then recording early 2027, hopefully. That's our main goal. And after this, I got quite a few projects lined up for the music production side of things. For a few of them, I'm pretty excited. So I would like to
Yeah.
get them to. a decent level because most of them actually start now after next week actually.
Hmm.
So my goal would be to have them in a pretty strong position to begin in 2027.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And our last question before we close up today
Mhm.
is can you tell me the name of three guitarists that you would love to collaborate with, either in the studio or on stage?
Whatever. Okay, two of them are pretty easy. One of them is Jari Lindholm, who I already
Hmm.
mentioned. I was in
Yeah,
Ensign and Slumber. That's the first, and I think he will remain the first for until I die, I think. The
yeah.
second one is Johan Eriksson from Draconian, and the third one, I haven't thought about a third one. Hmm.
Okay, it's kind of put you on the spot just a bit.
Yeah, you did. Who could be the third one? You know what? I could go for a little bit more traditional. I would like
Okay.
to collaborate. That's shooting way too far with Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden.
Okay, that's a great answer.
This
Yeah,
Yeah, this guy, I
I like
love this
that.
guy's, yeah, solos, melody, songwriting. I wasn't aware when I was younger. When I was younger, I was a huge fan of Iron Maiden. I first
Hmm.
purchased all of their discography and then started listening to other bands back when I was 12, 13. And after I finished purchasing all of the discography, then I started discovering new metal bands. And I realized that all solos and songs I like the most, Adrian Smith has put his hand one way or another into them. Maybe writing the whole song or just my favorite solo or my favorite lead. So I would go ahead and mention him.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds perfect. You got a good, even just those three guitarists. It's a pretty wide array,
Oh
capture
yeah, yeah,
pretty diverse answer, and it just really captures various
yeah.
styles of guitar playing you were talking about. So yeah, that is awesome. Well, I definitely look forward to to continue following you on Instagram and to check out
Oh,
your
thank you, thank you.
progress, where you're at with your album. And I definitely want to, since I won't be able to travel that far, anytime soon, I'd still like to hopefully catch some clips on social media or YouTube of the shows that you do with Swallow the
Yeah.
Sun in October. I'm sure that'll be
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Oh, thank you very
absolutely.
much.
Yeah,
We will follow
I
you. We will follow you on your future endeavors. Like it's as you mentioned, it's you just started doing this podcasting and interviewing channel. Is
yes.
that correct?
Yes, you are my third. So
Oh,
since
great.
you're my third since June, the beginning middle of June was my very
Oh,
first. So we're
great.
just getting this off the ground. So once again, I really appreciate you taking your time to do this with me today.
Oh, no, thank you for inviting us. I'm really
Absolutely.
gonna be
And you
following
said
you.
that, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, and you said that this was the first call that you had done in quite some time.
Yeah, true, true.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like this is the perfect opportunity. So for everyone who's watching, thanks for joining us, and
Yeah,
thanks for
thank you very
tuning in.
much.
Yeah, and of course you can follow Ocean of Grief on Bandcamp, and of course you have Instagram page, and do you use the Facebook
All the
page
social
as
media.
well, the social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks again for joining me today, and.
Thank you, April.
Absolutely. I will talk to you later. Bye
Sure,
now.
bye. Have a nice one.
You too.